Alright, so I'm going to try to show you guys how to fix the whole kickstart issue on a Chinese pit bike. I've seen a lot of posts about it. I haven't seen people actually really fixing it or giving a good explanation for fixing it. So you get your motor back together, and when you roll the bike with the clutch pulled in gear, your Kickstarter is not disengaging. I figured this out last night, so the bike's in a good place right now, but we'll take it apart and we'll show you, and then I'll show you how to fix it. So let's do it.
Mama said there's gonna be a flight. We gotta pack our bags and go. Mama said we gotta go right now. I don't wanna go right now. Mama said we're gone away. I've never been so far away.
Now I made a little tool for this, but I actually found it doesn't come off too bad. A little screwdriver and hammer. There we go.
Mama said we gotta change the sky so
Clutch.
she won't have to cry.
Alright, so right now it's my buddy's bike, I guess. It's in a good place. But this will be the procedure for when you hear that clicking, you want to take all this shit off. So we'll put it something like that. And now you can hear what your bike is possibly doing here. And this is the procedure I did. I just kept popping the clutch and flywheel back off. There we go. We got her in neutral. Alright. And hear it? That's that clicking sound, so your ratchet isn't resetting. What you gotta do is you take your kickstart lever. It's really easy with this on it. You roll it around, and you're gonna hear kind of a dead spot. See how it's clicking every slight turn? See? Here we go. Here's our dead spot. So when we're in this dead spot, you turn the motor, and you don't hear that click from the kickstart anymore. Once you get it to this point, you take these back off. Because you got to get that stop back on your kickstart shaft now. Don't move this. You take it, you slide it on, and see when it's at resting position, this part rests against here. This part of the spring needs to go up here. So you just slide her on. This is the easiest way I found to do it. I took this off, put it back on like 30 times, trying to figure all this out. So when the spring, even when it's out here pushing against the case, you can still get it pushed in where it's on the splines. I don't know if you can see this, but resting up against here. So while it's there, you pry that spring around. You may not have this shoved in all the way, but even if it's slightly even with the case here, it'll pull out enough to where that spring can slip by. It's actually really easy to pull that spring over if you have the stopper in the right place. You'll push it all the way in, see if you can slide it around, and maybe just let it wiggle out. If you let it pop out, the whole thing will release. Now, I wouldn't recommend putting your circlips back on yet, what I would do is stick your flywheel back on, get your clutch all back on. Let's sit and I give it some kicks. Just so you know, it's like, rotate it around. It's kicking good. You know that your return was set in the right place. Because sometimes if you have it on the bad side of the dead spot or just one click too far, it actually won't click. It has to ratchet all the way back around and you'll still get that motor clicking sound. See, we got the clicks. We didn't get it set in the right spot. So alright, now we go back through that process, pull her back off. A little frustrating, but shit happens, This is where we're just going through and we're clocking the Kickstarter. See, there's your, where it may have just gone one click too far. There was that big dead spot. We're right on it. See? Alright, so we went that one click too far. You see? You won't be able to kickstart it if you go that one click too far. You've got to be right in that sweet spot of that dead spot. So you come back around, clock her again. You see? You've got that nice area of free play here. And no clicks from the kickstart.
Yeah. Green sky.
So we'll pop these off again. Go on there. You can do it one hand, no problem, and you got this in the right spot. The spring isn't really that strong. I know I was kind of intimidated my first time taking it off. I actually thought that spring was going to be so hard, and yeah, it's actually a pretty light spring. Now we're back again.
I don't know how I'm feeling, no one can verify everything.
No clicks from the Kickstarter here. Now you're at a point where you can either make the decision to actually put your circlips and everything on. If you can kick this around and give it some kicks, just get it so you know it's not like where you literally had it when you put that on, so you know when you ride the bike after you kickstart it, it's not going to clock to a weird position. And you come back. No Kickstarter noise. You can be fairly confident, at least confident enough that you can actually reassemble your stuff. The last test, it's just something I did as a double check, get the cover back on, and that's when you check in gear and you roll the bike in gear with your clutch pulled in. We'll reassemble all of this.
I guess she's my cousin, but she needs some sweet loving anyway. Pulled you out by your hair. People ask I was never there. Come on, baby, and take a ride with me. Come on, baby, let's drive to the sea.
You definitely want to get all that stuff back on. You don't want to rebuild your motor second, third, whatever time. And I know after I finished this rebuild, I definitely didn't really want to have to do it again, and then I ended up having to split the case and take the motor apart a couple times, just thinking I fucked something up. Like, I thought that there was something with the kickstart mechanism on the inside of the motor. No, that thing inside the motor, that ratchets and pretty much sets itself. But there's not a whole lot that can actually go wrong. I suppose that's another kind of important thing to know. Get the circlips on the right one. Never know what can go wrong. I'm no professional mechanic or anything. I obviously don't have the proper tools for a lot of this shit. So, we're getting there. Get it in a ready, tidy position. Definitely remember to put your cap and spring back in. Your clutch won't work. Take your gasket. Make sure the shit you dropped it in didn't get all over it. Clean enough. Alright. Put your gasket on here. Take this. Slide it on that shaft. Bam. Always kind of take these out in a certain order and then line them up on the ground. The other side of the case has a lot of, like 3 or 4 different sizes. I didn't think about it initially, and I kind of just had to do the guess and check method and kept popping bolts in and out. It was a good time. Said fuck it, see if I can actually help somebody today. Got that. Pop your kickstart, I don't know what the fuck ever. And here's where you stick it in gear. See, it's in gear. But you see, when you pull that clutch in and it's free, no more clicking. Alright, well, you got the idea.